The internet's really become one of the most important tools in human history to help accelerate the overall scale of business opportunities, communication, as well as, of course, increasing income by leveraging the infinite opportunities that it provides. And over the past couple of years, it's just become increasingly evident that supplementing your maybe one or two primary sources of income with other sources of income has become paramount for financial success over the long term. So considering the exponential progress that we're seeing in certain industries and lines of work, we simply don't have a choice over the coming decades but to start thinking outside of the box as individuals when it comes to making a living for ourselves. In fact, ever since the meteoric rise of the internet, there have been more millionaires created over the past 2 decades than in the entire history prior to the 21st century. And this is just continuing to increase year over year by leveraging the scale as well as reach that the internet provides. Now, what we're about to speak about in today's video is probably not going to make you 7 figures right away. However, these are great ways that you can start supplementing your income, maybe adding a couple extra $100 to your income each and every month. And then also some of these are very scalable businesses over time. Hey everyone, my name's Griffin, and this channel is all about helping you better your personal finances. Now, it's 2022, and this means there is no shortage of ways to make money from home. So let's start with the first method being a virtual assistant. Now, virtual assistants are a concept I first learned in the book, The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss years ago when I first read it. And this is something that's becoming increasingly important as well as popular and needed really in the workforce, where companies large and small are utilizing virtual assistants to outsource certain tasks that they might have. So depending on what your skill set is, this could probably be a great opportunity for you, being a virtual assistant for a small to medium-sized company. Now, the name virtual assistant is pretty self-explanatory. Essentially, you're someone's assistant at a distance. And with work from home right now, this is a perfect way to increase your income, start making a few extra bucks each and every month from the comfort of your own home. Now, in my own personal YouTube business, I've used virtual assistants multiple times for various different tasks. I simply just don't have time. Like, for example, reaching out to companies via email, triaging emails that I receive, also video editing, and so forth. So really, the sky is the limit for being a virtual assistant and the value that you're able to provide to a company. Now, do keep in mind, although becoming a virtual assistant might seem like something that would be really easy to jump into, although this is something that you can easily go out and try to become a virtual assistant for a given company, well, there are things to keep in mind. So every company is going to have various different requirements for what they're looking for in a virtual assistant. So having the relevant experience and knowledge in a given field that a certain company is looking for is going to, of course, play to your advantage. But typically having a baseline and knowledge of skills related to computers as well as language skills, customer service, and other things of that nature are going to be really important helping you secure a job like this. Now, over time, as this has become more popular and in demand, there are full-on platforms that have emerged in order to match people looking for virtual assistants and the virtual assistants themselves. Some of the popular ones are, for example, Upstart as well as freelancer.com. But also keep in mind, like, just because a lot of companies are looking for people maybe overseas at a lower rate, this does not limit the fact that many entrepreneurs and smaller companies are looking for people who are located in the United States as well as in Canada for more of that personal connection, really. And when it comes to how much you can make from being a virtual assistant, well, in today's current market environment where there's definitely an increased demand and a low supply of people who are really offering their services like this, you can probably look at anything from around $15 an hour all the way up to $50, $60 an hour if you have really refined skills in a certain area that entrepreneur or company is looking for. Next up on the list for ways to make money this year and beyond from home, we have selling your services and just freelancing in general. This has become an extremely popular way to make money online over the past decade or so, and is just increasingly popular over time. Essentially, you're utilizing one of your skills and selling it online in exchange, of course, for compensation. And this allows a lot of flexibility in individuals' working hours, as well as where they're able to do this from in the world. So this really goes hand in hand with the rise of the internet and the evolution of technology over time, where years back, if you had a certain skill, well, you'd go to school, develop your skills, and then typically get a job in order to apply those skills. Well, in today's current market environment, if you have a skill about literally anything, you can market and sell those online for a given fee. And I'm talking ranging from absolutely anything, from drawing cartoons of people all the way up to video editing or even designing products for other people. For example, a really fun show I like to watch on YouTube sometimes is called Cold Ones. Basically, these two Australian guys just have kind of a comedic show on YouTube. And one of their series is going and paying people on Fiverr to design t-shirt logos for them, and then they just review them online. Now, some of these range from hundreds and hundreds of dollars for one single design, right? And this is just an example. If you're good at drawing, it is very easy in 2022 to market that online and make an income from it. Ultimately, like anything else though, you're not going to be looking at this from a quick way to make money, right? This is something that you need to actually develop your skills over time, and then also make sure you're providing value to the market. If you're not providing enough value to the market, no one's going to hire you for a small gig here and there. That being said, if you're really good and you stay consistent with this, it is absolutely something that you can start making thousands of dollars per month if you're able to really scale up the amount of output each and every month. And truth be told, if I had to restart from zero, this is probably one of the first things I would do, granted the fact that I would have these same skills, because over time, let's say just with this YouTube channel, I have developed skills with writing scripts, video editing, and a whole bunch of other things. Now, those are very sellable things that I would be able to put online and try to sell to other creators, for example. So pretty much everyone has something that they're able to do really well and better than others, and that's something that can be marketed and sold online. All right, moving into number 3 here, it's going to be creating a product which can be either digital or physical, and then building an online website or an online presence in order to sell that. So pretty much e-commerce is what I'm speaking about here, and this can take multiple different formats, from wholesaling products to private labeling, or even just creating an actual product that's proprietary to you in order to create a brand and scale up that business. That being said, there's never been a better time to start an online presence and an online store than today, because every single year there's an increasing amount of people that are joining the internet and gaining access to the internet, I should say, and therefore the overall total addressable market for just e-commerce as a whole is also growing. That's why year over year we're seeing the amount of e-commerce sales growing relative to brick and mortar sales. Now, of course, there are multiple different platforms that you can use to sell your products online and reach the target audience. For example, eBay is one of them, utilizing Amazon's FBA. So basically you can private label products and send them to their warehouses for distribution, as well as other things such as actually just utilizing a Shopify store and creating a proprietary product that's unique in order to create, once again, a brand presence online. So for example, a couple products I've sold online over time have been through Amazon FBA. Originally, I was selling coconut openers. That was a really niche product at the time, in a niche market, I should say, but there was no competition really, and for a good 6-month period, I was able to sell quite a few coconut openers down in the US. Now, also a couple other things. For example, my girlfriend, she's someone who is really into health and nutrition. Now, she really is into journaling and keeping track of progress through journaling, and she just didn't feel like there was a product that really suited her needs, so she went out and created her whole own product that is completely unique and offers value to the market that isn't found anywhere else. Over time, e-commerce has become so much more accessible to absolutely everyone, where you can utilize and leverage social media in order to create a brand presence and organically reach audiences that prior to a couple decades ago would be literally impossible to do without massive amounts of marketing dollars for legacy marketing, such as, for example, TV, radio, and other mediums like that. In today's current society, you can literally create a product out of pretty much nothing, just utilizing your own head, outsourcing it, or sourcing it, I should say, let's say from China, and then utilizing and leveraging social media to gain eyeballs for purchasers of your product. Do keep in mind though that running an online store and selling products online, it does require a lot of time commitment as well as just energy in general throughout your day. And this also is going to require upfront costs as well as ongoing costs to maintain and continue scaling up the online presence as well as the amount of sales that you're able to make for your business. But this is really something that I think anyone can do if you're able to come up with a really original product idea that fills a gap and a void in the market. Moving into number 4 here, we have renting out one of the rooms in your house in order to create income, and or just house hacking depending on your current financial situation as well as your housing situation. So this is actually something that I personally did a couple of years back in order to start lowering my monthly living cost and living expenses really. So I was not renting out a room because I didn't have a large enough house at the time. However, I was house hacking. So I purchased a duplex at the time, lived in one unit, and then rented out the other in order to offset some of those costs. That is not something that is applicable to everyone though. However, if you're able to do that, this is really one of the easiest ways that you can start getting ahead financially. So depending on the size of your apartment, your condo, or your house, if you do have some certain rooms that are just sitting there empty, chances are you can create a bit of extra cash each month by renting those out. Some of the most popular options and platforms that you can use to find tenants or just people who are looking to rent out your space include, for example, Facebook Marketplace. That's one I've used a lot, as well as Airbnb if you're looking at a longer term rental. And even further, if you have, say, the space in your backyard, nothing's stopping you from creating a little guest house. This is something that I first discovered a couple of years back when I was traveling in Los Angeles. I ended up staying in someone's Airbnb that was a guest house in his backyard. And upon speaking with him and doing a bit of quick math here, I was able to calculate that upon renting it for a certain amount of nights, they were able to fully cover their entire mortgage as well as running costs on the house and even create a profit on top of that. That being said, if you are considering this option, there are quite a few things that you need to think about before and take into consideration, because this is ultimately bringing individuals into your space. So there are some ground rules that you should follow. First and foremost, make sure to consider just how much the running rate for the space you're looking to rent out is going to be anyways, and then decide whether or not that's something that you're willing to take on, because the reality is that having tenant does require quite a bit of just ongoing maintenance, and you're going to be interacting with these people. So if it's for $100 or $200 a month and that's not really going to make a dent in your finances, chances are just the headache and hassle might not be worth it. The second thing is you're going to want to consider any type of zoning issues or whether or not it is legal and even tolerated, let's say, in your building. Now, I know Airbnb, for example, there's a lot of buildings that have since banned the use of Airbnb because there were complaints and lawsuits essentially. So that is something you need to consider. And then also when it comes to just the legality and zoning within your neighborhood or whatnot. Some neighborhoods are not going to allow you to rent out, say, a basement that doesn't have a large enough window for escaping if there's a fire. These are all things that you need to take into consideration, and then also maybe even speak with your insurance provider to see whether or not this would tamper with your insurance policy. Okay, moving into the fifth side hustle that you can start from your home today with little to no upfront investment, we have the video content business. And this is one of my favorite ways to make money online, because really anyone can start doing this with the own knowledge that you have on a given topic. This is probably common knowledge for most people watching this, but starting a YouTube channel is truly one of the best opportunities for anyone to start an online business and find an audience of individuals who are interested in their message and what they have to share. Let's remember that YouTube is the second largest search engine globally, and it's not going anywhere anytime soon. Now, I did say that creating a YouTube channel is one of the best opportunities that literally anyone can utilize today to start an online business, but we do need to take into account that creating a YouTube channel requires a ton of dedication, time, as well as consistency. For example, I've had this YouTube channel for over 4 years at this point, and posting consistently 2 videos per week for 4 years is something that requires an insane amount of dedication as well as time. So it can very much just start as a side hobby, and that can scale up over time to create a really nice amount of side income. But if you really want this to become something that is a full-time business, it's going to require a ton of consistency, time, as well as creative thinking, and really just thinking out of the box for new concepts over time. That being said, I absolutely love YouTube because, again, it's a way that I can connect with an audience that I've grown over the past 4 years to share content about topics that genuinely interest me and that I'm passionate about. So as much as this has evolved over time, it's something that as a creator, you can continuously expand your overall knowledge and share this with your audience. And monetizing this content is also something that can be done in various different ways, which is another reason why I think this is a great platform for many people to start an online business. Of course, the simplest way to monetize content on YouTube is just through YouTube ad revenue. So every time you watch a video and there are ads playing, the creator gets a piece of that amount of income generated from the ads. Other methods are, for example, affiliate marketing, brand deals, as well as just selling products relevant to the niche as well as content that you're speaking about on your channel. And really, the sky is the limit. There are so many different things that you can use in order to leverage your YouTube channel and create some income over time. Moving on, the next side hustle is somewhat of a complement to the content business that we just spoke about, and that is creating digital products and or even physical products like a physical book that you can also create a PDF version of and then sell that online. So kind of like with the content business, creating an online book or a physical book is something that pretty much anyone can do if you have knowledge about a certain topic. Now, I took inspiration for this point from, again, my girlfriend who created this fantastic book about personal development, as well as just following your goals as well as your wellness over a 4-month period. That was something that she did not feel was represented in the market, and therefore created a product that was going to fill that gap. Now, creating a book, though, there are some things, of course, to take into consideration, where this is going to take a lot of time if you don't have like an editor or someone helping you create that content. So this could take you anywhere from a couple of months even to a couple of years, but it can be extremely rewarding if truly this is something that's filling a gap in the market and you're able to market that through social media as well as other mediums in order to find a community of people who are going to be interested in what you have to offer. So first of all, of course, you need to have a really clear idea of what you want the topic and content of your book or online PDF version of a book to be in order to be able to target a specific audience. So of course, if you're someone who knows absolutely nothing or you have no interest in, let's say, plants, you're not going to create a book about plants. But if you're someone, let's say, who's been surfing for 15 years, this is just something I picked out of random here, but if you've been a surfer for 15 years, chances are you know quite a bit about the sport as well as how you can start as a beginner and progress over time. So that is something that you can probably package your ideas and put them in a highly consumable format that you can then create a digital version as well as a physical version. And again, now that we're in the 21st century here, you can outsource the creation of that book overseas. You don't need to go to a publisher, for example. You can now do this all yourself and even get market validation through platforms such as Kickstarter or Indiegogo. That is a great way that you can create some income in order to source the product itself and get also some market feedback before even making a large investment. And back to what we said earlier about how with a content business, you can also complement it with multiple different income streams. Well, creating a book as well as digitizing it is a great way that you can also create another source of income while also providing additional value to your audience. Moving into side hustle number 7, I think we're at this point. This one is something that I actually kind of discovered organically years back when I was watching Doug DeMuro on YouTube. He is a car YouTuber essentially. He reviews different cars, and back in the day, he used to rent a lot of cars on Turo. So Turo is a platform where you're able to rent out your car to pretty much anyone who wants to rent it for various different reasons. Now, if you go on that platform, there are multiple different types of vehicles for, again, different occasions. Let's say moving vehicles, pickup trucks, as well as just sports cars and everything else in between that you might think of. Now, over the past couple of years, I've personally used Turo a number of times as a customer. I've never actually rented out my car. However, I've seen how this business model works firsthand by actually renting out cars from other individuals, especially when I was traveling. Now, right now in the current market environment, there's actually also a shortage of vehicles that you can rent in multiple different markets. So depending on where you are, you can also go and look at what the current market rent would be for a day's worth of renting out your car to an individual. And depending on what that is, maybe this could be a really great little side hustle to create some extra cash a couple of days of each month in order to offset the cost of your monthly payments on your car, or even just creating some extra profits on top of that. If you do plan on renting out your car though, there are definitely some things to take into consideration, like if you were to rent out a room in your house or house hack. These are all things that you definitely need to consider before embarking on this income stream. The first thing, of course, is that you need to make sure that your insurance policy is going to cover this type of activity. So even though Turo and some of these other platforms are going to require or strongly suggest that the customer gets insurance on their end, from your end as the car provider, just make sure to call up your insurance provider and see if this would have any type of impact on your policy. Another thing to consider is, let's say you have a Honda Civic, just go on the website and take a look at what the market rate for one day with a Honda Civic is. And if there's also a huge amount of inventory for that specific vehicle and you're only able to get, say, $30, $40, $50 a day, well, maybe this wouldn't be something that you're willing to take on all that extra hassle and work and potential headaches if something does happen for that amount of money. But depending on some markets, you can sometimes even go and get upwards of $100 per day for a very basic and normal car. And then also, I would not really recommend this if you're leasing your car, because chances are you have a specific amount of miles or kilometers on your lease contract. If that's 15, 20, or even 30,000 kilometers, that can be quickly eaten up if you're renting out your car on almost a daily basis to individuals, racking up the miles. What's also kind of great about this is that unlike, say, renting out a bedroom in your house and vetting the tenants as well as their background yourself, well, with an application like Turo, for example, they're already taking care of this on your behalf by making sure that they have a proper driver's license as well as insurance and other factors coming into play that is going to basically just allow you to feel more secure with the decision to rent out your car. So just like with house hacking, this is an easy way that you can start offsetting some of the monthly costs associated with your vehicle. And you can very well just choose to keep this a small business, just renting out your vehicle, or over time, I've seen multiple different people on Turo that I've personally done business with scale this up to multiple different vehicles, essentially having a fleet of cars and really making this into a full-fledged business over time. So we've looked over a couple of different ways that you can start creating some income from the comfort of your home in 2022 and beyond. And I really wanted to make these ones that are evergreen so that yes, you can start today, but that over time with consistency can be scaled up to an actual real viable business. Everything we looked over here can really be scaled up over time if you're thinking outside of the box and looking at ways that you can really treat this as a viable business that can grow in income and also in reach. Just make sure to remember that with every single one of these, creating something that is of value and making sure that you're providing value to the marketplace is ultimately what's going to separate a winning opportunity from something that might fail. But even if you do see multiple different failures along the way, this is completely normal when it comes to entrepreneurship and business ownership. But just trying to find something that fits with your overall lifestyle as well as your needs and skill set is ultimately going to be one of the best courses of action that you can take for creating a side hustle and a business. Oh, and by the way, this is in no way a scalable side hustle or business, but if you want to make some quick money right now, you can check out the links down in the description where, for example, you can open up a brokerage account with Moomoo and get up to five free stocks, each valued up to $3,500 a piece, simply for opening up an account and funding it. Same thing if you're Canadian, for example, you can open up a Wealthsimple trade account, get 3 free stocks, each valued up to $4,500 a piece. So that is hands down one of the easiest ways that you can make some money today. And on that note, if you enjoyed today's video, make sure to smash the like button and subscribe for more personal finance as well as investing content. So with that said, thanks a lot for watching today's video, and I'll see you in the next one.